We begin today's story from Iran, where President Donald Trump said the U.S. may meet Iranian officials and was also in contact with the opposition as he worded a range of strong responses, including military options to escalate unrest, posing one of the biggest challenges to clerical rule since the 1979 Islamic Revolution. Trump said Iran called to negotiate its nuclear program, which Israel and the U.S. bombed in a 12-day war in June. Meanwhile, Trump has warned Iran leaders that the United States will attack if security forces open fire on protesters.
There seem to be some people killed that aren't supposed to be killed. These are violent, if you call them leaders, I don't know if they're leaders or just they rule through violence. But we're looking at it very seriously. The military is looking at it, and we're looking at some very strong options. We'll make a determination.
A U.S.-based rights group, HRANA, said it had verified the death of 490 protesters and 48 security personnel, with more than 10,600 people arrested. Iran has not given an official toll, and some international news channels are unable to independently verify the tallies. Let's talk about how the Iran war really started. The protests began on December 28 when demonstrations broke out in Iran and then spread nationwide as protesters vent their increasing discontent over the Islamic Republic's flattering economy and the collapse of its currency. Thousands of people have been killed and thousands arrested as the daily protests have grown and the government seeks to contain them. While the initial focus had been on issues like spikes in the prices of food staples and the country's staggering annual inflation rate, protesters have now begun chanting anti-government statements as well. On December 28, protests broke out in two major markets in downtown Tehran after the Iranian rial plunged to 1.42 million to the US dollars, a new record low, compounding inflationary pressures and pushing up the prices of food and other daily necessities. The government had raised prices for nationally subsidized gasoline in early December, increasing discontent. On December 29, Central Bank head Mohammad Reza resigns as the protests in Tehran spread to other cities. Police fired tear gas to disperse protesters in the capital. On December 30, as protests spread to include more cities as well as several university campuses, Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian meets with a group of business leaders to listen to their demands and pledges his administration will not spare any effort for solving problems with the economy.
We are engaged in a full-scale war. Right now, the enemy has placed most of its hopes on knocking us down through economic pressure. You cannot conquer a nation with bombs, fighter jets, or missiles. To defeat us, they would have to come and face us on the ground. And if they were to confront this nation on the ground, if we remain determined, united, and committed to working together to make our country proud, it would be impossible for them to bring Iran to its knees.
On December 31, Iran appointed Abdul Nasser Hemati as the country's new central bank governor. Officials in the southern Iran say that protests in the city of Fasa turned violent after crowds broke into the governor's office and injured police officers. On January the 1st, the protest's first fatalities are officially reported, with authorities saying at least 7 people have been killed. This is the most intense violence, and it appears to be in Aksna, a city in Iran, Lorestan province. This is where videos could be seen posted online, purport to show objects in the streets ablaze and gunfire echoing as people shouted, "Shameless, shameless." Reports also say 3 people were killed. Other protesters are reported killed in Bakhtiari and Isfahan province, while a 21-year-old volunteer in the paramilitary Revolutionary Guards Bashid force was killed in Lorestan. On January 2nd, US President Donald Trump raised the stakes, writing on his Truth Social platform that if Iran violently kills peaceful protesters, the United States will come to their rescue. The warning, only months after American forces bombed Iranian nuclear site, includes the ascension without elaboration. Meanwhile, according to the US-based human rights activist, the protests had expanded to reach more than 100 locations in 22 of Iran's 31 provinces. On January the 3rd, Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, says rioters must be put in their place in what is seen as green light for security forces to begin more aggressively putting down the demonstration.
The American vessel, he made an irrelevant and provocative statement, declaring that should the government of Iran take certain actions, he would move against it. Such remarks have emboldened rioters and elements hostile to the nation. Were he truly capable of governing his own country, he would attend to its numerous internal crises. His hands are stained with the blood of thousands of Iranians. During the 8 years of the sacred defense, countless compatriots, including commanders, scholars, prominent figures, and ordinary citizens, attained martyrdom. This individual himself has stated, "I issued the orders. I commanded during the war," thereby admitting his responsibility. His hands are thus tainted with the blood of Iranians. If he claims to be a supporter of the Iranian people, he is an inexperienced and thoughtless individual. Certain people accept and act according to his wishes, engaging in acts of sabotage and arson merely to please him. It must be clearly understood that the Islamic Republic was established through the sacrifice of hundreds of thousands of honorable individuals, and those who opposed it have failed. The Islamic Republic will not be overthrown. Do not serve foreign powers. Whoever you may be, if you become an agent of foreigners and act on their behalf, the Iranian nation will disown you, and the Islamic establishment will likewise reject you. As for that arrogant man who sits in judgment over the entire world, let him know that throughout history, despots and arrogant rulers, such as Pharaoh, Nimrod, Reza Khan, and Muhammad Reza, were at the height of their power and pride when they were ultimately overthrown. He, too, shall meet the same fate. Dear young people, preserve your faith, your political awareness, your active presence, your preparedness, and your steadfastness in advancing the nation. Safeguard your unity. A united nation will inevitably triumph over any adversary.
January 6, protesters conduct a sit-in at Tehran's Grand Bazaar until security forces disperse them using tear gas. The death toll rises to 36, including 2 members of Iranian security forces. Now, according to HRANA, demonstrations have reached over 280 locations in 27 of Iran's 31 provinces. On January the 8th, now following in a call from Iran's exiled crown prince, a mass of people took to the streets in an overnight protest. The government responded by blocking the internet and international telephone calls in a bid to cut off the country of 85 million from outside influence. January 9th, Iran signaled a crackdown is coming, but protesters continued protesting. HRANA reports that violence around the demonstration has killed at least 65 people, while more than 2,300 others have been detained. On January the 10th, reports say the protests reached the 2-week mark as the death toll reached at least 116 people killed. Iran's Attorney General Mohammad Moghadam warns that anyone taking part in protests will be considered an enemy of God. A death penalty charge would also be given. Still in Iran, hundreds of protesters turned out in front of the White House on Saturday, January 10th, to speak out about the Iranian government and in support of an opposition revolt that had been underway since December 28. Despite a steady rain, protesters held signs and chanted against Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. Ali Raza Javanzadeh is the Deputy Director of Washington Office of the National Council of Resistance of Iran. He said that protesters are seeking support from the United States.
Over the United States, right here in front of the White House, to tell the world that the people of Iran want change, with chance of death to Khamenei, death to the dictator, down with the oppressor, be it the Shah or the supreme leader, making it very clear that the people of Iran want to go forward for democracy. They're not settling for theocracy. They're not going back to a dictatorship which they once overthrew. Now is the time to stand on the side of the people of Iran for their freedom. They're not asking for foreign boots on the ground or appropriation of money. All they need is support on their side.
In a separate development, according to 3 Israeli sources with the knowledge of the matter, they have confirmed that Israel is on high alert for the possibility of any U.S. intervention in Iran, as authorities there confront the biggest anti-government protest in years. President Donald Trump has repeatedly threatened to intervene in recent days and warned Iran's rulers against using force against demonstrators. On Saturday, Trump said the U.S. stands ready to help. The sources who were present for Israeli security consultation over the weekend did not elaborate on what Israel's high alert footing meant in practice. In a phone call on Saturday, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio discussed the possibility of U.S. intervention in Iran. A U.S. official confirmed that the two men spoke but did not say what topic they discussed. In the meantime, Iran on Sunday warned President Donald Trump that any U.S. attack in Iran would lead to Tehran striking back against Israel and regional U.S. military bases as legitimate target.
The goal was to increase the number of casualties in the protests. Why? Because Mr. Trump, the President of the United States, said that if people are killed, they will come and intervene. This is clear evidence of interference in the internal affairs of other countries. We have audio recordings of messages sent from outside the country to these terrorist elements, telling them, "Open fire while you are among the protesters. If you can shoot the police, do so. If you cannot, then shoot ordinary people. And if that is not possible, then shoot the girl or the young man directly in front of you." We possess extensive evidence and documents indicating the involvement of both the United States and Israel in this terrorist act. Israeli media outlets are full of reports claiming they are busy planning operations inside Iran. Mr. Pompeo, an influential figure who served as director of the CIA during Trump's previous term, posted a tweet saying, "I congratulate the Iranians in the streets and Mossad agents walking alongside them, which constitutes a clear admission. We, the Iranian government, demand justice for everyone who was killed, and we will pursue this both internationally and domestically. Our security forces are fully in control of the situation. We hope other countries do not make miscalculations. From our perspective, what happened over the past 3 days, from January 8th to 10th, is an extension of the 12-day war. It was planned outside the country in order to bring chaos to Iran. In the documents we obtained, the detained rioters confessed that large sums of money were paid to them and that they were recruited through financial incentives. 80 million tomans were paid to attack each police station and to attack or burn vehicles and government vehicles. 50 million tomans to set places on fire. 20 million tomans for other acts. There are documents and confessions for each case. The money that was paid has also been seized and documented. We also have videos showing them firing at people and police forces, as well as videos showing them distributing weapons to people. Many shops were burned. 200 shops in the market of one city were set on fire. Ambulances were attacked, and during those 3 days, January 8th to 10th, 180 ambulances were burned. Buses were also set on fire, and then mosques were attacked. This is completely strange,